morning. I understand you've been sitting for 2 hours. Do me a favor. Could everybody just stand up? Just stand up. Just take 2 minutes, 2 hours. You want me to talk to you after you've been sitting for 2 hours. You got to take a break. So you may be wondering why I'm wearing a tie. Who knows Billy Joel? Anybody here know Billy Joel? A few people. So when I went to college, Billy Joel came to a concert, and somebody said, "Why are you wearing a tie, Billy Joel?" He said, "Look, you all spent $5 to see me, and for $5 you get a tie." So I hope you all paid $5 to be here. All right, thank you. Thank you for standing up. Taking a quick break. There are decades when nothing happens, and there are weeks when decades happen. That's a quote of Lenin talking about the Bolshevik Revolution. You could actually apply that to the past few weeks if you think about Britain and Europe, right? You could also apply it to some of the changes that have been going on over the past few months and years. If you look at the slide up here, you see some penguins diving into the water. I think the changes taking place with climate change and with penguins are also applicable. The penguins in Antarctica live on the ice. The ice has been melting. The penguins walk on the ice, and in fact, that's how they go for their food. With the ice melting, predators come after the penguins. And the scientists say that the penguin population has shrunk in half over the last 50 years. Climate change to the penguins. The S&P 500 in the United States, if you go back to the year 2000, half of the companies that were in the S&P 500 are no longer there. That's 16 years. Not 50, 16. In that same period of time, there are 5 companies that are worth over $2 trillion. You all know who they are. The MAF, Microsoft, Apple, Alphabet, Amazon, and Facebook in 16 years. Now, 16 years ago, Facebook did not exist. The gentleman that founded Facebook was 16 years old. And if you look at the other ones, Google was a private company. Amazon did not have 2 of their 3 major businesses even in existence, and that's in 16 years. So things change and happen very rapidly. What I'm going to talk about very quickly, is digital durability. And how do you build digital durability into your company? This is actually part of a technology vision that we wrote in Aricent. It's on our website, www.aricent.com. So you can pull it down and read it. It's a tech vision that some of our team put together, and that's probably the best way to do it. I'll just do a quick overview. But it starts with a concept that we're in the 4th industrial revolution. A lot's been written about this. The first industrial revolution, steam and water power. Then we went to electricity for mass production. Electronics and information technology starting in 1960s. There was this thing called the mainframe. Some company called IBM. Sorry, I used to work for them. Then they went to PCs and internet and so forth. But now something else is happening. And the view is that starting around the year 2000, there's a 4th industrial revolution. And it's caused by a high velocity change because we're marrying the physical, the digital, and the biological worlds. It's changing at a rapid pace. The velocity of change is taking place, and it's significantly different. It's all about silicon and the rapid dispersion of silicon smaller, faster, cheaper, combined with the software that enables it, combined with all different ways of fusing technology into everything. And as this takes place, all of a sudden things can be done that could never be done before. And while there's lots of societal changes taking place, whether it's things that happen in Britain or things that happen with a guy by the name of Trump, underneath it all, something is fundamentally occurring that's driving change. And this change is fairly significant and is accelerating. Now, this is a period of disruption. We haven't seen these kind of disruptions for a long time, but it is accelerating and it's changing industry by industry. We've seen it in transportation, we've seen it in housing, we've seen it coming in agriculture, and these disruptions are going to take place in all the different industries. If half of the companies in the S&P 500 that were here 16 years ago are no longer here, what's happening next? And if 5 companies can start to think about all different industries and how to attack them, this disruption is not insignificant. So, if you want to be durable in an age of digital disruption, what's the culture behind it? What do you have to think about? Well, there are companies that are doing very well. They have a culture to deal with it. You have to have an intense customer affinity. Apple does that. We all know the intensity of the customer to Apple. We know that their advertisements are all about people. They think about people, the experience of people. The iPhone, which was 2007, by the way, it's 9 years ago, 9 years. But the affinity to the customer, to people, to connecting with people, has brought Apple into that experience of attaching to people. We also know that you have to be nimble with products, and that General Electric is reinventing around GE Digital, and that they're very nimble. But the GE Digital took their software, their digital, they brought it together. They included World Tech, which is the security part, and they really are embarking on a cultural change that's a digital change for that business. Very, very significant. Tesla, R&D learning loops, thinking about culturally how to do things different through software, how they can update their cars, provide fixes and maintenance over the air. Now, Tesla is a pretty unique company. I have a nephew who's 30 years old, a mechanical engineer, who works for Tesla. And I was with him last weekend. He is, at 30 years old, more excited and proud of that company than I think you could ever be. I hope you're all as excited about who you work for. It is unbelievable. He talks about that company almost like a religion. He talks about Elon Musk going to Fremont and figuring out how to get more things done on the manufacturing floor, using the space more efficiently. He's just obsessed with it. I mean, it's actually really cool. I mean, for me to see my nephew that excited about a company and what they're doing and how he's part of it. Again, I hope you're all as excited. But that's a culture. And then Google. Long tail innovation is about finding niche areas to do something unique. Again, it's a culture. 95% of the people in the world are covered by cellular networks, but only 10% of the land mass of the world. So how do you cover the rest of it? So Google comes up with the Loon project to float balloons at 60,000 feet. I mean, Larry Page says, let's try it. So they put a team together, they go do it. And they're floating balloons around the world to be able, through the through the telcos, floating these balloons. They float for 3 months, and then they drop parachutes and drop them down to be able to get LTE coverage around places in the world that there's no LTE coverage. It's a niche area, but it's doing something. So all of these are examples of a culture, thinking about a culture for digital and a digital era. But how do you actually become durable? How do you make your firm durable and really strong in this era so that you're not disruptive and you're thinking about being more disruptive going forward? Well, we've thought about 4 different practices, and it's all about the R&D organization. The R&D organization is the heart, the soul, and is the future of companies going forward, because you are who designs, develops the products and services that will create the future for your companies. These are the 4: smart outcomes, design for billions, innovate with silicon, navigate, unconventional connectivity. You may have your own ideas. These are the 4 that we came up with this year. The first is about driving smart outcomes with smart services. Clearly, you can get outcomes for customers through services. Services that go with products where you can do analysis of data and provide algorithmic approaches that do something for a customer that provide an outcome. Now, to do that, though, you have to start with this idea of customer experience and designing with a customer experience mindset. Design-led businesses are really powerful. Apple is a design-led business. Steve Jobs thought that his company should be design-led. We were fortunate because we have a company called Frog that's part of Aricent that was very intimately involved with Steve Jobs many years ago in that thinking about design-led businesses. And you know, there's a design organization that has actually been tracking this. And last year, design-led businesses outperformed the S&P by 219%. Design-led businesses are companies like Apple, Google, GE, Honeywell, Amazon. Companies that are design-led are thinking about the customer and the experience of the customer, the human-centered approach to the customer. And as you think about services and you think about services with an outcome, it's doing it with the customer and the experience of the customer right in the middle of it. Very powerful. The other thing that's powerful is taking products and making them into platforms. Those big 5 I mentioned with over $2 trillion of market capitalization, those are platform companies. Platform companies take a product, make it a platform. They use APIs. A lot of discussion about the API economy. How many APIs does Amazon have? How many APIs does Walmart have? Is it a tangible or an intangible? Intangible is APIs. Tangible is physical. The API world is all about platforms, and it's very powerful. So turn products into APIs, into platforms, and you are creating value and connecting ecosystems and many, many customers for a long time. So drive it through services, smart outcomes with services. So that's one area. Now, the next area is, I have no idea because it went dark. But, actually I do. The next thing I'll talk about is driving unconventional connectivity. Oh, I really like this screen, by the way. Navigate unconventional connectivity. Unconventional connectivity is all the ways that you can connect things today and all the ways you can connect things for the future. You know, we've all talked for years about things going wireless, things going faster, and going through the different Gs, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G. But what's happening now is there's all different ways of connecting. Automobiles are going to go vehicle to infrastructure, vehicle to other forms of connection. You're going to have ways to connect to wearables, ways to connect to other devices. You're going to have low power, high power, and you have to think about all the different ways of using connectivity most effectively. High-powered, low-power, faster or slower, and there's a proliferation of ways to do that that are there today and coming. There's also innovative ways. You do have the Google Balloons. Now Facebook wants to put connectivity on 737-sized drones. That's pretty cool. Then you have SpaceX that wants to put low altitude orbiting satellites. So there's all new forms of communications, all to provide a variable set of options for connecting. And in the Internet of Things world, they're all a variation of options that are available. So think about and navigate unconventional connectivity. And, let me go backwards here. You also have to think about designing for billions of things. Now, billions of things is talking about the Internet of Things era. When sensors go everywhere, you're connecting to everything, and it has to be done in a safe and secure environment. In doing this, it is about software-defined everything. Everything will be about software. It's moving to the world where we're going to be connecting via software. It'll be in an open world and using open hardware. So it becomes very important to be designing and thinking about what is the scale that this is going to be dealing with into the future. And then innovate with silicon and innovate beyond silicon. Silicon is coming in a variety of power, sizes, speeds. It can be customized in a lot of different ways. There's value in all types of different specialized chips. There's a lot of things that can be done on those chips. The Snapdragon, the next generation, is lower power. We've worked with Qualcomm and done some really cool things to build frameworks for children's wearables. There's just a variety of things that can be done with the chips today. And there's value in ecosystems. I'm sure you all saw the BMW, Intel, Mobileye announcement. That's an ecosystem. And there'll be more and more ecosystems brought together to do what needs to be done in the world that we're all moving into. So innovate with and beyond silicon. So those, I'm sure this is not me. I really am sure. But those are the four. Drive smart outcomes with smart services, innovate with and beyond silicon, design for billions of things, and navigate unconventional connectivity. You may have great ideas beyond these. These are four things we'd suggest that have to do with digital durability. If you get a chance, please pull down the white paper off of our website. Take a chance to look at it. We do think that there's a lot of exciting things going on. This is the time to innovate, change, stay ahead of things, and really take it as an opportunity, not as a threat. And the future is beginning today. So I hope you all enjoy it, and thank you for listening.